VWAP, the most powerful indicator in the trading community. But are you using it like a pro? Stick around, because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use the VWAP like a pro. In fact, I'm going to show you how to anchor it to key points and the key signatures that it's telling you every day that you might not even realize. So let's get into the charts. Before we dive into the charts, in case you didn't know, my Flow Zone trading course is available right now. It's a 20-hour on-demand course, and with that, you get access to my private Discord room for free for life, plus you get my famous Flow Zone indicators. That is all for a one-time fee of $649. So if you're interested in doing the course, the link's down below. Let's get into the charts. So what is VWAP? VWAP stands for volume weighted average price. And you can think of it like a moving average, except unlike a simple moving average or an exponential moving average, this moving average pays most attention to volume. And as we know, when it comes to trading, volume is absolutely key, because volume signatures will show you where the big participants are placing trades in the market, where they're starting to get bullish in the market, where they're starting to accumulate positions, and when they're starting to distribute those positions. So from understanding the volume weighted average price rather than the average price, we can have a good idea of where participants are in the market. So for us traders, that is absolutely key, because remember, when we're trading, we're looking to join momentum of the big participants in the market. We're not looking to fight them, we're looking to join them. That's how we make our easy money. So how do we add the VWAP to the charts? Very simple. We come to this indicator section and you just put it in. VWAP, or volume weighted average price. You will see it right here. It's a free indicator across almost all platforms, and when it appears on your chart, you may get 3 lines like this. We are only interested in the mean, the VWAP band. Okay, so I'm going to take off the upper band and the lower band. Those are very much like Bollinger Bands. They're showing 1 to 2 standard deviations, as you can see, away from the mean. Now, I like my VWAP to be bright green. I've always traded it as bright green because it's an important price for me. And before I go any further, I should say that the VWAP, okay, will stay fixed no matter what time frame you go on. Okay, it does not matter which time frame you are going on. All it cares about on the VWAP is the volume weighted average price. It only cares about volume. So you see, this is not moving around like you would get in an exponential moving average or a simple moving average, because it's only paying attention to volume. That's how it's doing its calculation. So if we think about that with broad strokes and volume, what does this tell us? Okay, let's just think about this from the most recent session, which was the Friday just gone. I'm going to put a line on the chart for the 9:30 open, which will be right here. So we can see in this pre-market session, all right, which is from 8:30, in here, these are all the pre-market participants. We know that buyers are in control. How do we know that buyers are in control? Because price is above the volume weighted average price, okay? Price is above it. So buyers are in full control of this session coming into the 9:30 print in the morning. We can also know that we are extended away from the volume weighted average price. Now, if we know that this is deemed as fair value, right? If volume weighted average price is fair value, do we want to be buying too far away from the volume weighted average price? No, what we'd really like is a back test, all right? Just like an RBS, all right? RBS, resistance becomes support. We want the back test of this volume weighted average price. So we build out a nice level of liquidity here into the volume weighted average price. We manage to hold that volume weighted average price because it's deemed as fair value. So buyers who participated down here, they start to participate again here. And then we can look for structure to start participating in for a bullish move away from the volume weighted average price. Now, in this case, that structure could be something as simple as this. It could be a type of flag. You could always wait for the breakout and retest. This is what we called live on Friday on YouTube. So if you want to join me Monday to Friday, I'm there from the 9:30 open into lunch on YouTube. So we know all the time price is above the volume weighted average price. All right, we are bullish in terms of sentiment. All right, if we're holding volume weighted average price, we're bullish in sentiment. If we go back though, all right, if we go back during the week, you will notice that this session here on Thursday, all right, after we got from Asia through to London and then into New York, you will see that during New York, we failed to hold bids above the volume weighted average price. So every time we poked through, we kept getting failures. This means sellers are taking control of the market because the average price now of sellers is here and they are holding sell side pressure down. At no point do we reclaim this and hold, right? Even this move here, you would need a reclaim and a hold and then continuation higher to aim for this liquidity, which we never get. So in this session here, once we get below it and we keep rejecting it, this is telling you that sellers are in control. So all through this session, from here and here and here and here, you could have been using this as an area of confluence to sell into. You also had structure. We had a supply block here created, a retest of it here, and liquidity to start to aim for. I also know that on this session, we had daily and H1 liquidity down here that we could drive for. So just for sentiment use, for bullish and bearish, you can see its importance. Again, we can go back. Coming into this morning print on Wednesday, 8:30 pre-market. All right, this was the CPI print. Large print up and away from it. We come back, we back test the VWAP and hold. Bulls remain in control. We pull away from it, break of structure, back test the VWAP and hold. Bulls remain in control. What are we going to go for? A break of structure. We trade away from it and we back test and we hold. And this is into the close of the day. So we know, again, bulls average price is here. How do we know it's the bullish average price? Because we are trading above it. So understanding your price position to the VWAP is important. What you can also consider, very much like a moving average, is what is fair value. If we deem this green line being the VWAP as fair value, all right, when we come close to it, then you're having a good value buy. But if you're buying all the way up here, extremely extended from the VWAP, just like I would use in my flow zones or moving average, we know this is an extended move. This is not good value at this point, all right? This is not on good value. It's not on sale. This is a premium, okay? And we're looking to buy good value. This is low risk, good value. This is high risk, all right? So we never want to be buying high risk. So we can always think about the relationship of where price is. Much like this day here, all right, we chop around here for a little bit until we get a clear sentiment move. At this point down here, do you want to be selling down here? Not really. This is not good value, do you? You want to be selling on the back test of VWAP and then a retest and covering the lows. So understanding the relationship between price and VWAP is key. We can also think about the slope. All right, the next tip I would give you is the slope of the VWAP. If the VWAP is in a very clear trend up, all right, we're pointing upwards, then we're looking to join bullish momentum. Very, very simple. Much like a trend line or a moving average, when we're drifting higher, we're looking to join momentum to the upside. We would not be wanting to short a VWAP trading upside. That is how you're going to get yourself in trouble, because bulls are showing you by the slope of the VWAP that they're in control. The same way here, once the VWAP moves from flat to starting to point down, you know sellers are in control. So the narrative of that play on that position and that day is to the sell side. Again, here on Friday, bulls are clearly in control. We trade upside. Look at the momentum in this period of the VWAP. It's very much in an upside move. It also means that when we are trading sideways and you get a flat VWAP, you can expect some chop. So days like this here, these sessions here, where you have a flat VWAP. Look how choppy this is, all right? We are building liquidity. We do the same here. We have a fairly flat VWAP. We build liquidity. This is very different to this VWAP that comes after the building of liquidity. Remember, we build liquidity to use it. Once these buyers are trapped here, they become sellers, and the VWAP trends down. Much, much clearer move. So understanding the slope and direction of the VWAP can help you build your thesis of what side of the trade you want to be in. All right. Are you in the back side of the move and looking to fade all pops with a VWAP pointing downwards? Or are you the front side of the move and you're looking to buy dips with a VWAP pointing upwards? To make that make sense, remember, markets move like this. They don't just move straight, all right? So here we go. Here's a very, very typical market. And a VWAP in this case, let's see if we can join it, will look something like this, okay? And let's see if this will let me change this to green to make it very clear. All right, so front side, or blue I've done here, front side of the move, all right, we would be looking to participate as buyers, buying dips. All right, once the VWAP starts to flatten out, we're going into moments of consolidation. All right, this is your consolidation period while the market prepares to possibly roll over. The rollover is shown once we get underneath the VWAP, and this is now considered backside of the move. All right, so if you were going to split this chart in half, it would be right at this point here. All right, this would be the point where we are now thinking about potential backside, and then it's confirmed once we get underneath the VWAP, once we start to sell pops. So very, very simple. Look how easy you can make it by understanding the slope of the VWAP and the position of current price and candlesticks and structure to that VWAP. Now I want to talk about the ETFs and the cash players in the market versus the overnight players. Now, many of you who have traded with me every day and many of you who are doing the course will understand the importance of what I call the cash gap, right? That is from settlement of a New York close into the open of a new session. We won't often see that when we're trading futures because we are looking at extended hours, but the VWAP will take into consideration all price that you are showing it, all price, which is why you will have some sessions where we have price come into a VWAP here, for example, in NQ, but it will not trade into that VWAP, or it might trade through that VWAP on something like QQQ. So here you can see this exact session. We got stuck. This is the same point. We got stuck under VWAP on the QQQ. All right. And that's because this VWAP here is only taking into consideration the New York Open. And we can change that and go to an extended hours, and it would take into consideration all pre-market trading from 4 o'clock. All right. So we can think about the relationships of different VWAPs based on the markets. So I am always looking at the ETFs as well because I'm interested in where the cash players are operating, because I like to know where options traders are playing, where cash is being delivered in a New York session. So how can you look at that if you don't have multiple screens in something like the NQ or the ES? Well, it's really simple. All right, super, super simple. We're going to start to use anchors. So again, we're back into an extended hours here. All right, and we're going to use an anchored VWAP. Now, an anchored VWAP won't show as an indicator. You'll need to grab it from the side section. So right here where you would find your long positions, short positions, and forecasting, you can see I have anchored VWAP. I have it favorited because I use it frequently. So an anchor VWAP will allow me to anchor this VWAP to a set candle or position. Now, the candle that I'm going to be interested in here is going to be this one right here. This is the New York Open, so I can anchor this VWAP to the New York Open. Now, I've done this a slightly different color so you can see it. And you can see from the open, we have sellers just based on the open. Remember, nothing before it, based on just the open, start to take control. And these sellers are starting to sell pops. And where is their cover position? Their cover position is down here. It is the VWAP which is running all through these sessions on the futures market. So it's the average price of now buyers. It was sellers and it's now buyers who are in control. This is their average price. So from this push on Friday, you knew that you didn't want to be a buyer up here. You don't want to buy high away from this VWAP, do you? All right, so you might be thinking about buying dips down here. That's what I was thinking about. But what you might also be thinking is, can I sell on pops into a level of value, into the futures VWAP? So you could have used the anchor off the 930 print open, sold pops every time we came into it. We keep fading. We never really hold structure over it. And you're looking for covers into and around the VWAP, which is not the ETF VWAP. It is not the 930 VWAP. It is your futures VWAP. These are all the traders from Asia and London who are currently in control. We know they're in control because price is above it. So using anchors from pivots like the 930 open can be really, really useful for understanding who's in control. Now, in this session here, once futures traders from overnight showed their hand and came back in control, you'll notice we push above, we retest the 930 anchored VWAP, and we hold this. Now we know every single player in this market from both overnight, the bright green line, and the 930 open, the New York open, the blue green line, is a buyer. We are in control. We retest this anchored VWAP and we continue upside. So the power of anchored VWAP, super, super easy to use. And again, we can use them in exactly the same way that we use normal VWAPs. Now, I don't just anchor my VWAPs to the 930 open and the pre-market. I also anchor them to key events. Those might be news events like NFP, PPI, CPI. I've got a whole video on using the anchored VWAP that's going to pop in the description underneath. But you can also use it on key pivot points. So if we look here, this drive up here into these highs, we can see from this moment here, we started to fail. Now, if we put an anchor on that failure candle all the way from the highs up here where we had that big moment of failure, we now know the average price of sellers. Now, I'm going to do this as red because we're just going to use it for the average price of sellers. So we've anchored off this pivot high, this sell point, and we know at this point here, all right, all the time we're close to this anchor but below it, we can think about selling opportunities. All right, selling opportunities are presenting themselves here, 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 here. But once we break too far away from it, we've lost value. So we're going to need to wait for a return back towards the anchored VWAP. This is our next selling opportunity after this fade. And we're not just going to sell, are we? We're going to still stick to our rules. We're going to stick to things like very basic trend lines. We're going to stick to patterns. All right, if we think about this as a pattern, we can go right here. Trading upside, 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 pullback, push, failure underneath, retest. There's your first sell point. And then we get stuck underneath trend line, sell point, lower lows and lower highs starting to build out. All right, so from here, we're thinking about backside of this move here. All right, of this move here, we're thinking about backside to sell. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you can add confluence in. You could go for an anchor off this low and wait for this anchor to fail. Now, that point is pretty much the same point we just talked about, isn't it? We were looking at these same points which are presenting themselves around here, around the trend line break, around the lower lows and lower highs. Notice the confluence giving you a good thesis that we might trend lower. Again, we trend lower, we expand away. We're not looking for sells too far away from these anchored VWAPs. All right, we're not. Once we start to regain control of these anchored VWAPs, we know that these sellers, all right, if they start to get squeezed, they become buyers. So at this point, we're breaking above the anchored VWAP. We're trading back into it. These sellers now get squeezed out and become buyers in the market. They're starting to cover their positions, break even. We come in once, twice, and both times we start to react upside. So you can see how useful anchored VWAPs can be of key pivot points, and you can keep using them over and over again to give you an idea who's in the market. From this point here, we can think about buyers above these levels. Let's do it as blue. All the time we're above this level, we know who buyers who participated right here are in control. Dips back in, buyers in control. Dips back in, buyers in control. These buyers, once they fade underneath them, back inside, these buyers become sellers and that's when we start to fade back downside. All right, so anchored VWAPs are so simple to use and so powerful, but they're so underutilized in the trading community that most don't even know how to use them. I use them every single day on my charts. And if you want to learn more on anchored VWAPs, you can do my course down below, or you can join me live on YouTube Monday to Friday, 9:30 Eastern time, all the way into lunch. Hopefully you'll learn some lessons like this while making some money and having fun. I'll see you real soon. Use hard stops.